All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro, so glad you could join us on a Monday. By the way, on this show, the Vegas Take, we're not talking about Kobe Bryant's rape case. We're not talking about Kobe Bryant's issues 17 years ago. And by the way, for the record, for anyone who wants to talk about that on a day like today, you're an idiot and you're a despicable human being yourself if you want to focus on that. We're talking about the great man, the icon on and off the floor that was Kobe Bryant, and this horrific tragedy that he, his family, and those others that died on that helicopter crash.
You're ignorant, and you are trying to be contrarian to build up an audience. You're trying to grab attention to yourself by saying something completely insane.
It is completely absurd.
And it's very unprofessional.
Yeah, so that really bothers me. By the way, our thanks to Marcus Banks for taking some time to join us. That was great talking to him. So the guy we have with us on the line right now, it's been a little while since he's been in studio. He is our hoops guru. He works with Drive Time Sports, covers the NBA, does a fantastic job at it, by the way. That would be Jamieson Welsh. Jamieson, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
What's up, Jamieson?
Not a problem, guys. Thanks for having me as always. Definitely appreciate it.
No problem. Obviously a sad day, Jamieson. You know, I told Marcus this last segment, and I have no problem admitting this, when Michael Jackson died, Prince, and plenty of celebrities have died in our lifetime. For me, I've never gotten emotional. I've certainly have been sad, and it's been unfortunate circumstances. But last night I got emotional just in my apartment, by myself and watching TV and just looking at the images over and over again of he and Kobe and his family and his 13-year-old. I really got choked up, and it was upsetting because it's such a good dude. He's always been good to the media. He's been good to the fans, and he seemed to be such a great father. I mean, would you agree with that sentiment?
Yeah, I mean, he took the helicopter to beat traffic so he could be at all of his kids' events. I mean, I don't know how much you can get better than that. I mean, because most parents, especially living in Southern California, I'm from Southern California. I went to middle school in LA, so I know what it's like, what he was trying to do, and it's just almost an impossible task on a daily basis. So that being said, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to deal with.
No question.
Very, very, very tough. But at the same time, he had a passion for working at his craft, and when you have that passion as well as you have kids, it's impossible to balance that out in California. It's just no way. Just traffic alone is a couple hours out of your day. So the helicopter, of all things, saved so much time where he can accomplish everything he wanted to, and that's truly an amazing thing at the time.
And we can say it. He died doing what he loved to do, spending time with his daughter, spending time with his family. And you're right. The only reason why he was in that helicopter was not for selfish reasons. It was so that he could spend time with his daughter and his family and teach her basketball and be around them. Sadly, you're 100% correct. Let's talk a little bit about the NBA reaction to what has taken place, particularly some of the games last night. I thought players, staff, they showed a lot of class in some of these games using the entire 24-second shot clock, both sides, to pay tribute to Kobe and 24. What do you make so far, and what stood out to you, how the NBA and some of his former teammates and friends have reacted? What stands out to you, Jamieson?
Well, it's wild because you have guys that are in their first or second years that are like 20, 19, 23, all in those age ranges, and he's one of their idols, if not their basketball idol. And then you have guys that played against him that are retired that have the same kind of feeling. So it's just kind of wild that he kind of bridged the gaps. He bridged the 80s and 90s era to the current era. He's the middleman in between all of that. And it's widespread how his passion and his what he left for the game on and off the court has spread across. And it's just a very unfortunate situation. Very, very unfortunate. And honestly speaking, it is the city of LA. He was the face of it. The Lakers are LA. The Lakers are, they are the center of attention. They are the city, the heartbeat of the city.
Sure.
And he was part of that for 20 years. I always say, Shaq built Staples, but Kobe took over the pavement.
I like that. And Jamieson, you would know. Jamieson, you would know. You were up in California. So I want to ask you, Jamieson, a little bit about some of the reaction across the country. Let's start with President Barack Obama. He said Kobe was a legend on the court, just getting started in what would have just been a meaningful second act. To lose Gigi is even more heartbreaking to us as parents. Michelle and I send love and prayers. Shaquille O'Neal, there's no words to express the pain I'm going through with this tragedy of losing my niece Gigi and my brother. I'm sick right now. Talk a little bit about Michael Jordan. He was like a little brother to me. We used to talk often. I will miss those conversations very much. What do you make about some of these comments that, including Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? We played that. Magic Johnson. I mean, everyone's speaking out on this, Jamieson.
Yeah, I mean, everyone grieves differently. I know that, Kevin Durant, LeBron, Kyrie haven't said anything yet. Andre Iguodala, who he's close with, hasn't said anything. Rob Pelinka, who's Lakers GM and Kobe's longtime agent, hasn't said anything yet. And those guys deserve their time to, make their comments, because, everyone grieves differently. So I don't want to, such and such hasn't said anything. That's not for anyone else to speak about. Everyone grieves differently.
No, I agree.
And another player that not mentioned is Giannis Antetokounmpo, who was actually very close with Kobe. We trained them all summer. He actually deleted his social media entirely.
Right. So, it's just things like that. So everyone grieves differently, but it's a lot of respect. I mean, you can make a very strong argument that, from, post-Jordan, Kobe's the face of the league during that time. From 99 to, basically until he retired, he was the face of the NBA. And if he wasn't the face, he was definitely one of the faces, but he was the only constant for so long. You knew what you're going to get with him. That's the thing. Every night, you knew you were going to get a really good performance. He was going to bring it. Even if he didn't shoot the ball the best, he was going to have, he's going to have his team right in the thick of things and give his team a chance to win. And that is what it's all about. But, no, man, the NBA lost a good one last night. Very, very tough. The NBA will never recover from this.
I agree. If you're just joining us, we're speaking with Jamieson Welsh. He is our hoops guru from Drive Time Sports. Jamieson, explain to me this. We saw the images of LeBron James walking off that Lakers airplane yesterday, obviously grieving, hugging friends, teammates. We saw him emotional, rightfully so. I mean, I cannot understand, even begin to imagine what Kobe's family's going through, but let's just talk about LeBron for a second. The night before, he passes Kobe Bryant points, and he goes on this 4 or 5 minute, it almost sounded like an eerie eulogy, talking about Kobe and what Kobe meant to him. I mean, and he said in those comments, it's weird how the universe works. I mean, listen,
and he finished the monologue and said, while they're alive. Actually.
Yeah, I mean, I just can't even comprehend that. I mean, we've heard LeBron, and we know that he had the utmost respect for Kobe. We know that. But with that being said, how eerie is it, Jamieson? You heard the audio. We played it. The night before, Kobe and his daughter sitting right there courtside, and then those LeBron's comments and passing him on the points total list. I mean, I can't even put it into words how bizarre that is.
Man, well, bizarre. I don't know about bizarre. However, it was just he was speaking from the heart. That's the one thing we all want from athletes is to speak from the heart. And it was not scripted. It wasn't. No one was in his ear telling what to say.
I believe that.
He said what he felt from the heart. You got to realize, basically, the torch is always passed. It always gets passed. So, Magic passed it to Jordan. Jordan passed it to Kobe. Kobe passed it to LeBron. LeBron passed it to KD, and now it's kind of in flux right now. It can go a lot of different directions. Kawhi, Giannis, whatever. But that's just kind of how it goes. So he mentioned that. I remember the actual high school game he was talking about too, because it was on national television. But the Kobe's that he gave him, the Adidas USA flag, that those were very limited. He gave it to his high school kids. So when you know somebody before they were a future Hall of Famer and all this and that, it's different. It's like knowing somebody before they get rich or before they get put on. It doesn't happen like that, So you have that kind of relationship with them, and you've known them for probably 20 years or right around 20 years, it's going to sting. It's definitely going to sting because LeBron chased Kobe for so long. Remember, it was rough for LeBron. Even though he put up amazing stats, he was still chasing him. And he went to Miami, won a couple rings, and then went to Cleveland, won. And then somewhere along the line, he caught him in a lot of people's eyes. So catching that legend is a huge accomplishment in itself. And then passing him on the all-time points in Philadelphia you couldn't write a storybook better than that for LeBron. So it's one of those things where you've been chasing somebody for so long, and you catch them, you pass them, and you're going to say what you feel from the heart.
So Kobe was a competitor in the mold of Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Larry Bird. Is there a player in the NBA right now that has the same competitive spirit and drive and just want to win that Kobe Bryant had?
That's a great question. Kawhi Leonard does. He doesn't talk a lot. He doesn't talk at all, really. but he will do whatever it takes to win. And it's by action. Like, I think a lot of people get caught up in what people say and all that stuff, but I'm more of an action person. When Kawhi Leonard's healthy, when he plays, he plays. It's no BS. It's no, I'm doing this for clout or social media, or I'm here to get cute. No, I'm here to do whatever it takes to win. If I got to shoot mid-range jumpers all day, that's what it is. If I got to lock up the best player on the team, that's what it is. Does it quietly.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't really show like that because he's not a loud person like that, but he speaks with his actions. And
Sure.
I think the one guy with the pair would be Kawhi Leonard.
Mm-hmm. So, Jamieson, let me ask you this. How the hell does LeBron James put on a Laker uniform and play tomorrow night against the Clippers?
You know what? Kobe would want him to play.
Yeah.
Kobe would want him to play. And that's just what it is. And they better win tomorrow, too. Like, there's no excuses tomorrow. Like, that's one game. You can't lose. They got to figure out a way to come out and make a statement and play. I mean, Kobe would want them to play. Kobe wouldn't want them to grieve and take days off. Like, Kobe would be like, hey, the show must go on. I mean, remember, Kobe's the guy that played with, like, broken fingers and had to reconfigure his shot. So,
That's true.
You know what I mean? He's not a guy that's like, oh, we got to take 2 weeks off. Nah, that's not him.
I mean,
Never been
Kobe,
him. So he wants the game to go on.
he tore an Achilles tendon and then walked up on the tendon and shot and made 2 free throws, then walked off.
Oh, you're
still
so
on
right.
The tendon.
You
Whereas,
both are right,
where-
yeah.
and honestly, you said Kawhi Leonard. I would say Kevin Durant. But even when he tore his Achilles, he laid on the ground. So
Yeah. You're so right on that one, Jamieson. So let me go a step further now. Listen, I've been picking the Lakers to win the whole thing this year, and I hate to use a horrific tragedy to give somebody more motivation, but I guess it's just natural human instincts, I guess. I mean, how emotional would it be if the Lakers did win the championship this year and they honored Kobe Bryant and they honored this championship this year in Kobe Bryant's name? Because I think there's a very, very good possibility that could happen this year. What do you think of that?
Oh, it's definitely a possibility, but I tell you what, they better find a better backup point guard than Rajon Rondo in 2020.
Yeah.
Else now that's happening. They have to improve the roster. They need another wing defender, and they need another point guard. If they're able to get Darren Collison from semi-retirement, and if they're able to figure out the Andre Iguodala situation, then they got something. But if they don't improve the roster, it's all going to be for thought because they're not good enough to win a championship as presently constructed. They need a couple of tweaks, and that's where GM Rob Pelinka, who just got an extension, is going to earn his new contract. If he's able to make some moves and get the team better, then I think you have a storybook ending that can happen. If not, you're in trouble.
Yeah. I have to bring this up because I think this is important, Jamieson. I don't think we've talked about it enough on this show, and I don't want to give anybody any extra attention when they don't deserve it. But there are some outlets and there are some talk show hosts, and there was somebody from the Washington Post that decided to bring up Kobe Bryant's legal issues 17 years ago and his infidelity. That reporter was fired, rightfully so. What would you say to people like that, whether you're a talk show host and you decide to talk about Kobe Bryant's issues 17 years ago? Because I think it's utterly disgusting, and we have a responsibility as members of the media to talk about Kobe Bryant and all the great things that he did and not talk about an issue he had 17 years ago where he may or may not have cheated on his wife.
So that's the thing. I think a lot of times people lose perspective when it comes to certain things. A lot of people aren't able to separate on and off the court. They box everything into one. That's a big problem that we have. The sooner we're able to separate the two, the better off we will all be, especially in media and in journalism. I know a lot of stuff sells. A lot of people do stuff to get clicks, and I understand that. That's the nature of the business. However, there's a moral obligation that we all have as well, and that's the thing that we all have to understand. That you know what, there's a time and place for everything. And like you mentioned before the segment, we're not going to talk about certain things. So I'm serious. If you would have brought up stuff in Colorado, I would have hung up on you. So just being honest with you. So I'm glad you didn't do that. But
no, it's disgusting.
There's a time and place for that.
It's disgusting, and I don't think there's any time or place for it now. There was a time or place for it 16 or 17 years ago. There's no place for it now. And, obviously he will be sorely missed. Our thoughts and prayers are with his family and friends. Jamieson, I always appreciate it when you come on our show. Thank you so much for your perspective. Look forward to having you on again sometime under better circumstances. Thank you for your time, Jamieson.
Not a problem. Thank you.
All right, there you go. Jamieson
thanks a lot,
Welsh
Jamieson.
from Drive Time Sports joining us on the show. We appreciate his time. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we do have to talk a little bit of basketball. It was the biggest UNLV game of the year, and it took place, sadly, just hours after Kobe Bryant lost his life. We'll talk about UNLV's reaction, or maybe lack thereof, and we'll talk about the game. It was a pretty good basketball game yesterday. We'll get to that and much, much more. This is the Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.